Hey, what's up? My name is Daniela and welcome to a new video. So today we're doing a book haul and I realized that I haven't done a book haul this year, but because I didn't haul that many books, we can just do one collective book haul at once and it won't be an unreasonable amount of books. Looking at the books I have to haul, I realized that a lot of them are connected with some story or some memory of how I bought them or got them, so I will tell you all the stories. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the book haul. Okay, so for the first book, it was in January and I went on my first solo trip. I went to Gran Canaria and I had a blast there. It was amazing, but also then one day I was at a restaurant and I became quite overstimulated and a little bit triggered, and so basically I ate, paid, and left the restaurant, and I was distressed and I was crying on the streets trying to calm myself down, and then there appeared a bookstore in front of me, so I was like, perfect, I'll go into a bookstore and I will calm myself down, and I did. And I was looking for a book to buy. I only had a small backpack, which will be a theme so yeah, I could only buy like 1 or 2 books, and I was actually looking at the Spanish young adult, but I realized that maybe my Spanish isn't at that level quite yet, so I ended up buying El Principito, which is The Little Prince in Spanish, which might be a bit closer to my level, although I will have to use the dictionary definitely to read this. So yeah, that was the first book, and yeah, the only book that is in Spanish from this haul. The stories might not be in chronological order, by the way, because my memory is not that good. But the next one is that there was this specialized bookstore in Prague that had a lot of books on neurodivergency and queer books and stuff like that, and yeah, I've been wanting to go for a long time, and then I saw a message that they were actually closing and they were having a 20% off everything sale. So on the last day, basically in the last hour, I went and yeah, at the last minute got some books. So firstly, I got Watch Day Diaries by Jamila Roser and Robin Smith. So I saw this book on Olivia Savannah's channel from Olivia's Catastrophe, and she really loved this book and it just sounded so amazing, and I saw it there and I was like, that is stunning. So I got this and yeah, it was amazing. First off, the art is beautiful, and I also loved the story as well, so I gave it 5 stars. I actually read this on my birthday this year, so yeah, it was a really nice experience on my birthday, and yeah, I would highly recommend it. Next, I grabbed The Henna Wars by Avida Jagirdar, and all I know about this one is that it's a young adult romance between 2 girls, and it seems like at least one of them is going to be like struggling with accepting her sexuality. Yeah, I don't know much about this, but it sounds cute, so yeah, I want to read it. Then I also got Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters, and this is a historical sapphic romance about 2 women who meet, and one of them is a performer, and then they become secret lovers. Again, don't know much about it, and I think like people kind of have mixed opinions about this one, or also about like various Sarah Waters books. Like they tend to like some and not the others, so we will see where I will fall. I don't read a lot of historical fiction, but it is sapphic, so that might make it better, but yeah, we will see. And last book I got in that bookstore before it closed was The Autism and Neurodiversity Self-Advocacy Handbook by Barb Cook and Jen Purkis, Developing the Skills and to Determine Your Own Future. So let's hope this is helpful. Then I went on a trip to Malta and I took the flight back to Vienna instead of Prague because it was cheaper. So I also spent a night in Vienna and I went to the Shakespeare bookstore, and I really wanted to get something, but yeah, I ended up getting like something from the sale bin for maybe like €1, €2, and I got A Short History of Nearly Everything by Bill Bryson. It's not in a good condition, but I mean, for a few euros. I already read one book by Bill Bryson. I read The Body and I enjoyed it, so I thought why not? It's kind of like, it always takes me a long time to get to these types of books, but hopefully I will one day. Then Barbara from Bookworm Wonder was in Prague, and we went into a bookstore. We went into the Globe bookstore, and I got Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. So this was a booktube buy. I would probably never bought it if it went for booktube, but booktube has been raving about it. I still haven't read it. I might actually, like in the autumn, because it kind of feels it might be like autumn like. But yeah, this is what I bought. I also think Barbara broke her book buying ban here, so we were kind of each other's bad influence, but it was fun. Then I went to Berlin to see Olivia Rodrigo's concert, which was amazing. And there I went to the Dussmann bookstore with Eva from Pretty Polka Dots. And there, I think I bought 3 books, but I can remember what the third one was. So also there might be a couple of books that I hauled, and I have since unhauled because I have read them, but that would be only a couple of them, so I'm really not sure where the third one went or if I even got 3. But anyway, I definitely got More Than Your Best Friend by Emma R. Alban, and this is a well, not the young adult, they're kind of like 20, around that age, so new adult historical romance, which I absolutely loved. Basically the plot of this is that these 2 girls are supposed to marry, and they're not really into the men that they are meeting, and so basically they devise a plot that they're going to pair their parents so that the attention won't be on them, and in the process of trying to do that they fall in love, and it's absolutely the sweetest thing. Like if you love like things like Heartstopper, try this out because it is so heartwarming and cute. Another book I also grabbed in Berlin was A Strong Female Character by Farron Brady, and this is her memoir. I don't really know her, but she is an autistic woman and she is a Scottish comedian. And yeah, people have been recommending it. I think I might find it interesting, we will see. Then we had a book swap at work, which I wasn't really excited about because I thought that most of the books are going to be in Czech and probably not ones I would be interested in. But I was proven wrong, and I was actually able to find something that caught my eye, and that was the 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. And I actually don't know much about this one, but basically people have been talking about it when they were talking about Evelyn Hugo, saying that it's something similar, sometimes even that it's better. So yeah, it's about some woman who will finally tell the truth, and I think it's historical, so yeah, I've been kind of mildly intrigued, and when I saw it there for free I was like, well, why not? And then I went to the UK, specifically to London, Edinburgh and Glasgow. I went because I went to see Hozier concert twice, once in London and once in Glasgow. And this might be my favorite story because I was going for a week and I was only going with the small underseat backpack, so space was quite limited. So I was like, so I'm going to limit myself to 1 book. Oh Sweet Summer Child. So in the end I bought 6, but my book adventures are now some of my favorite memories of that trip, so I would say worth it. And I wasn't fined by Ryanair, so yeah, it worked out fine. So on the first day when I arrived, I went to a neighborhood that I don't remember the name of, but I will insert it here. And I went to this gluten-free cafe, and then I passed by this bookstore, and then I went in, and it was called Everybody Reads, and you know, I didn't think anything of it, just a small bookstore. And then I actually started chatting with the staff, and they told me that they only opened 2 days ago, so they were like brand new bookstore. So I was like, well, I definitely am going to buy something to support them. So I picked What You Are Looking For Is in the Library by Michiko Ayama, and this was such a great book. It was kind of in the style of The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, but better. So yeah, in this book we follow several characters. It's kind of like interconnected short stories, and they kind of appear at a crossroad in their lives, or something happens and they kind of don't know how to proceed, and so they find their way into this library, and there's this librarian who will point them in the direction of some books that they should read, and a lot of the time they're like, what the fuck? But then it ends up working for them. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Then I went to a northeastern part of London, and again, I wouldn't venture that far out of the city center if there weren't for this gluten-free cafe that I wanted to try. So this was called Rebel Coffee, so I was intrigued. And when I got there, it seemed like it was this like community space. It was super tiny, but there was the owner and she had like some friends there just chatting, and then they left and we chatted, and so she told me that she also has celiac disease, and we just had a really nice chat. And that's the beauty of these kind of places. Like, I have a soft spot for all small businesses, but especially for small gluten-free businesses, because like they're adding a lot of value into my life, because like it's very rare that I can go somewhere that is 100% gluten-free and I don't have to worry that the food is going to make me sick. So yeah, I really adore small gluten-free places. So yeah, I really like the desserts she had there. And I also noticed that she was selling books there. So there was this one bookshelf, and do you know, like when you look at someone's shelves and you are like, yep, we're on the same page, like politically aligned, if you will. So I was like, I want to buy some books here to like support her even more. So yeah, I got 2 books there, and I got A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf, which was a book that I wanted to read for a very long time. I previously read, well, I guess only one book by her, Mrs. Dalloway, back in college, and I've been really intrigued about this one for a very long time. So this is like an extended essay or like a lecture that she gave. And yeah, it's about women and fiction and how having your own space, basically some financial means, is really essential for women to create. So I finally read this and I really enjoyed it. And the second book I got there is Mr. Loverman by Bernardine Evaristo. So I previously read Girl, Woman, Other by this author, and I quite enjoyed it. This one is like a story about a queer old man, and apparently he's like, you know, not the most likable character and does some questionable things. Oh yeah, right, I remembered. So he's not actually out, and like he lives with the woman, but he has a secret affair with the man. I previously wasn't super intrigued about this one because like it's about old grumpy men, and it's not something I especially enjoy to read all of the time, although I did enjoy A Man Called Uwe, so maybe I do. But yeah, people have been raving about this, so I was like, well, let's give it a try. Then I went to the Natural History Museum, and I didn't expect to be buying books there, but I went to the gift shop and I actually spent quite a lot of money in the gift shop. So yeah, they have it figured out, like the entrance is for free, but then like the gift shop is really good. So I saw a book there and I was like, oh my god, that is so cute. So I got A Little Gay Natural History by Josh L. Davis. I mean, yeah, it was just calling to me. And then I went to a bookstore that I have been wanting to go to, you know, ever since I heard about it. And last time I was in London was like in 2017, and I actually joined BookTube in 2017, but I think by that time I haven't heard of this bookstore. And so now I finally was back in London and I could go to the bookstore, and that is of course Gaze the Word. And I got 2 books there. So I got All This Could Be Different by Sarah Thingham Matthews, and this was a book that I have never heard about before, and I haven't since. So I was just like, let's pick something that I've never heard about, because like I rarely do that. Like most of the books I get is because I know them from BookTube or occasionally from somewhere else. But yeah, I rarely do this anymore, that I would just like pick up random books from the bookstore. So that was really nice. And so this is about like a young woman who graduating into recession. Sneha tries on adulthood like an ill-fitting suit. Story about a young woman who just tries to adult and apparently it's not working out, and obviously it's also queer. And then the second book I got there is In Your Divergent Guide to Love, Sex and Everything in Between by CJ DeBarra. So this is also a book that I've never heard about, so it wasn't like on a recommendation, but the title caught my attention, so yeah, I'm quite intrigued about this one too. So that's how I got 6 books in London, even though technically I only had space for like 1, but totally worth it. Then it was my birthday and I got some presents. So I got Nobody's Princess by Erica Ridley, and this was sent to me by Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe, and I also met Olivia when I was in London and we did go to a bookstore together, but I didn't buy anything there. Did I? No, I didn't. This is book 3 in the Wild Winchester series. So this is a historic romance series and we follow this one big family. It's a found family of these kids that were adopted by this guy, and he died, and now they kind of live together in London, and they kind of go on these missions to help less fortunate people, and in each book we follow one sibling and their romance. I have been adoring this series. It is now one of my favorite romance series. It's basically, well, I guess one of the only historical romance series I have read, but it's so good. So this was book 3. I have already read it, and this wasn't my favorite in the series, but it was still very solid. I highly recommend this series. And also the second one in the series is Sapphic, but I would recommend starting with the first one because that is probably my favorite. And then I also got The Husbands by Holly Gramazio, and this was from Cleo from Bemused Bookworm, and I was super intrigued about this book since I first heard about it. So this is basically a story about a woman who one night comes home and her husband is there, which is weird because she's not married, and then she realizes that the guy came down from the attic, like the universe sent him from the attic. And every time a husband goes up to the attic, another one comes down. So it's like a changing place for husbands, and every time her life is a bit different because like she's a bit with a different guy. So of course it has like impact on her life. So every time a guy comes down, she's like googling like what is her job and like stuff about the husband. So yeah, I was super intrigued about the concept and I was not disappointed by the execution. I loved it so much. Again, it's a little bit like The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, but much better. Yeah, I have some gripe with that book, okay? So I just thought this was perfectly executed as far as like tone goes. It was kind of not taking itself too seriously. It was kind of sarcastic at times. She goes through quite a few husbands and some of the repetitions get a little bit crazy. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. Marianne Keyes blurbed it and says, the most fun I've had reading in the longest time. And I would say yes, same. And then I have here the last stack of the books, and I guess these don't have like a specific story, but I think they are all from the secondhand bookstore that has an e-shop, and I am there all of the time. Like, I sell books there, so then I get store credit, and then I go there all of the time. These are all from there. If you're in Prague, it's the Knihobot store. So first I have The Ramantic Agenda by Claire Kahn. So this is an adult romance, and we follow the main character called Joy, and she's 30 and she's Ace. And this book has kind of a messy sounding plot that it like immediately intrigued me. So Joy is secretly in love with her best friend, and like one day, and she just keeps hoping that like he will declare himself, and one day he tells her that like he has found the love of her life. So Joy is like devastated by this, and then like he invites her to this weekend away with this new girl, and also like another guy is coming, and the guy is like the ex-boyfriend of that new girl. And yeah, it's kind of a bit messy. So they go away on this weekend, and it's kind of like, you know, what is Joy going to do? And obviously it also discusses asexuality. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed this one. I wasn't sure I would, because previously I have read Let's Talk About Love by Claire Kahn, and that was only a 3-star read. But this one I actually really enjoyed. I think it might have been 5 stars. I'm not sure, like 4 or 5. But yeah, it was really good, really enjoyable, some really good discussions. Then I finally got and read You Made a Fool of That With Your Beauty by Akweiki Emezi, and I have been intrigued about this one for such a long time. Like, everybody has been raving about this author, and this is a romance, like they write all of these different genres, but this is a romance, so I was like, obviously I would like to start with this one. I'm so glad I did. I love this book so much. It will definitely make it into like top 5 of the year, at least. The synopsis is very vague, and I didn't know what was coming when I went into it, so I also won't tell you much. We followed this woman called Faye, and she tragically lost her boyfriend, fiance, and then now she might be open to meet someone new, so kind of like some new guys appear, but they are not really it. And then she's invited on this weekend away, and interesting stuff happens there. So yeah, I highly recommend this one. Now I want to read everything by this author, even though like romance is probably the genre I was programmed to enjoy the most, but we will see. I expect that I could really like the other books too. Then I also got Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Renee Edo Lodge, so a non-fiction about race that has been recommended. I finally own Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and I actually started Little Women a few years ago, but I didn't get far. I think it was a library copy. So now that I finally own it, hopefully I will finally read it. I don't think I need to introduce this one much. Then I also got Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This is kinda for a project maybe, and I will just read you the back because I would fumble this. So, when Jack meets Kate at a party, he knows he's falling hard. It's almost happily ever after until 6 months later, Kate dies. And this love story should end there. But Kate's death sends Jack back in time to the moment they first met, giving him the chance to try to save her this time. When the choice he makes turns deadly for someone else, Jack has to worry out what he's willing to do and let go to save the people he loves. So that sounds a bit intense, but yeah, hopefully I will enjoy it. Next I have Slay by Brittany Morris, and this is a young adult story about a girl who is senior in high school, and she secretly works at night as like a game developer. She developed this game for black people that is based on black culture, and apparently like someone gets murdered kind of in connection with the game, and then it kind of becomes, I guess, like public discussion. I'm not far in the book, so not sure yet, but yeah, apparently it's going to get intense. Also, I love this cover, like the colors. People have been raving about this one, and also recently I read, well, recently, last year I guess, War Crows by Marie Lu, and I didn't end up loving it that much, so I hope I will enjoy this one more. And the last book in this haul is Payback Witch, another beautiful cover by Lana Harper, and this is an adult romance about a woman who's a witch, but she's not very powerful because apparently, like, because she hasn't been to her hometown for a long time, her power is not that strong. But then she comes back and she meets this girl, and they plot a revenge about some guy that broke the other girl's heart, and in the process they fall in love together. So yeah, this sounds amazing. I'm planning to hopefully read this very soon, obviously, while it is the season of the witch. And there you have it. Those are all the books that I hauled this year, minus the few that I have already unhauled. Let me know if you have read any of these books and what your thoughts were. If you don't know what to comment a moon emoji for Payback Witch. But that is all for today. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!